Hey everybody, happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's Breakout Bag Lunch and it is the 19th of January 2026. Today I actually did not place any trades. I just decided to use this day to catch up on things, do some review. I was actually debating on whether or not I was going to make a video, but I decided, hey, why not? This is going to help me with my trading, and hopefully you learn something from this too. Basically, what I'm going to do is just take a look at some really ugly trades and days, or day, I should say specifically, and then tell you what my process will be going into the trading sessions this week. So let's get into it. I wanted to start by reviewing this day here. On the 13th of January, this was when I had a really big, ugly red day. Well, I wouldn't say really ugly, but it was about a loss of $760. And looking back at the price action for that day for gold, this really looked like a no trade day, just based on my criteria. Now it might be hard to see, but I have the high and the low of the 5-minute opening range marked here. Just looking at the price action before the New York Open, we were moving upward, and that led us to, or that should lead us to believe that the price action for that day would have been bullish, maybe. Now, initially we did get move up on that day. Okay, so yeah, we got this move up here, but then we just could not continue the bullish momentum. Now I'm just gonna go back and look at what I traded that day. What did we try to do? We tried to go long twice at 1034. So that would be, where would that be? It would be here. And then we tried going long on, let's say long at 1011. 1011 would be, right here. So I believe, this would have been a good entry if we were just looking at the break and retest, or I should say retracement to the opening range and move back up. But if you look at the VWAP, we were very far from the VWAP at this point. It would have been better to wait for like a retest of VWAP. But once we got the retest of VWAP, we had actually moved below 5-minute opening range. And at that point, we kind of had conflicting signals as to the direction of the market this day. And because of that, I would have called this day a no trade day if I were to trade it again, because just based on my setup and the things I like to see, like VWAP and the opening range breakout, there were mixed signals. And I think this is the only day I really wanted to point out. I messed up on Friday. Had a profit, but that was due to some bad trading. But I wanted to review this day in particular because I think it just goes to show that From now on, I really don't want to rely on just one or two factors that are in favor of a trade I want to take. So for this day, we did have the bullish break of the 5-minute opening range, and then we had basically a retracement and then a move up from the 50% area. But if we were just looking at VWAP, then, well, if we were looking at VWAP as well, then it probably would have been best to wait this trade out. Now, so that means that well, I guess you could consider the market structure to be another confluence, but on the 1 minute chart, we were actually looking at lower highs and lower lows. I guess this review is kind of like my leeway into improvements for this trading week, the week of the 19th, which begins tomorrow in terms of my trading. All right, I'm going to switch over for a second. Okay, these are the improvements that I will make next week in order to improve the trading results. The first one I'm going to make is to journal trades every day. I know I've been making videos about my trading every day. That's not going to stop in the near future. That's going to continue. But what I'm also going to do is include and document all my trades in a spreadsheet. I'm going to use Google Sheets because it's free and easy to use and convenient. Trading journal is also going to include profit, loss, notes, and entry criteria, which I will talk about in just a moment. Speaking of entry criteria, the second bullet point is to look for 3 reasons, or I should really say look for at least 3 reasons to enter a trade that are in favor of the trade that you want to take, or the trade that I want to take, in my case. So, for example, that means if I want to take a bullish trade, then if I'm looking at VWAP, Fib, and Orb, I need all 3 of those to actually be in confluence. I will need the price to break above the 5-minute opening range. I will need a dip below the 50% area and then a moving back up for the fifth confirmation. And then I would also want VWAP to be retested. I would want price above VWAP, and then I would want it to be retested as well. And that's just an example of a type of trade that would possibly be a high probability trade, which is going to lead to more consistent results and more profitable trading. And I'm going to include entry criteria in the trading journal that I am going to use, and I'm going to share the trading journal eventually, but for now I'm just going to keep it to myself while I tinker with it and just make a few changes that fit the type of analysis that I want to do. Alright, this third improvement that I mentioned here is something that I've mentioned over again, and it's kind of annoying at this point that I'm bringing it up again, but I need to stick to bracket orders. I got my arse handed to me on Friday with a gold trade, and Well, honestly, that trade would have been a losing trade anyway, but it would have been a small loser if I had just had an automatic stop loss that was put in a stop loss order as soon as I entered the trade. I think I got a little lazy once I moved from Thinkorswim to Top Step, but that's going to be strictly enforced. I'm going to make sure I have the OCO brackets enabled, and that should really help improve the consistency and the profitability of the trading, because often if you don't have your stop loss and take profit, these limit orders and stop loss orders set, and you're just taking a guess each time you enter a trade, then you're not going to have consistent results, and most likely you'll end up holding losers long and cutting winners short. So, this is something I was doing very consistently on the paper trading account, and I just need to make sure I'm doing it on Top Step as well, because that is very important. And then the last item that I wanted to address was to make sure that I'm analyzing the pre-market data and using that to influence a trading or a bias for the day. And that means I am going to come up with a bias based on price action before New York open, and basically that's going to be me sitting down. I'll add starts analysis no later than 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, so that means looking at the market structure. I'm looking at the overall direction of the market before you open, because that can give you a really strong clue about what will happen in the New York session. And that'll also allow me to avoid taking bad breakout trades, which will basically be trades that are not with the trend, that are not aligned with the trend. So that would be like if I am looking at pre-market action and I see that we're in a very bullish trend, I'm not going to feel confident, or I probably won't even take a short entry or bearish trade at all. That means that if I see like a bearish break of the 5-minute opening range, I likely won't take that trade unless it's a super quick scalp or something like that. And that also will improve the accuracy of the trading and reduce the number of trades at that. So in summary, all of the improvements that I have documented here are basically designed to help me, or basically designed for me to take fewer trades but higher probability trades to improve consistency and profitability. I'm going to include all this in a journal that I'm writing, and then I will share that journal with you all once I have everything set up the way I want it to be set up. As always, if you have any suggestions or anything that helped you with your trading, please let me know. Share any feedback you have in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If not, then once again, enjoy your Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. And let's get some good trades in and let's make some money. All right, see ya. Bye.